Hello, my name is Connor from Firefly. I just wanted to take a few minutes to run you through the Fusion 3D scanning and prescription writing app for custom-made foot orthoses. So Fusion is Firefly's app. It allows the podiatrist to capture patient anatomy and create a prescription and send that order into Firefly for manufacture. So in order to use the Fusion app, you need a structure sensor 3D scanner, and that's connected to your iPad via this cord. If there's no cord, the recording and the data captured will not be saved to the iPad and submitted as part of the order. So for this video, I wanted to focus on the prescription element of the app. So you can see here, when you log in, I'll just log in. This is the login page of the app. You put in your username and your password, and you hit submit. The app will open up. Down here, you've got your order history, and this is just a list of all the patients that you've prescribed for within the app. The battery scanner status is at the top left-hand corner. My scanner is currently unplugged. That's why it says disconnected, and my device battery status, the battery status of the iPad itself, is at 100%. Third column over here, the notifications, just gives you some information about orders that are being submitted and whether they're submitted successfully or not. Down the left-hand side of the app, you've got your main navigation. The dashboard where we're currently located is at the top. That's followed by the scanner, order form, order history. The order history is just an expanded view of the orders that you've captured with the app. And on the right-hand side here, you can see that there's some different statuses associated with the orders. So an incomplete status means that the order you've begun the order, but it's missing some key piece of information, whether it's a scan or some data in relation to the prescription, maybe information relating to the patient. In review means that the order has been successfully submitted to Firefly for manufacture. However, our operations team have not begun the manufacture process just yet. Down a little further, shipped means that the order has been manufactured and it has been shipped out to you. And the final status is submitted, and that means that the order has been successfully submitted to Firefly for manufacture, and that our operations team and manufacturing team have begun the process of manufacture. When an order is in review, you can go back in and you can tap the pencil button and you can still make changes to the order. However, when an order takes on the submitted status, it means that you can no longer make changes to the prescription. But generally speaking, for the most part, once an order is in review, you're going to be happy with the prescription, you're going to be happy with the scans, and there'll be no issues there. Just some other information in relation to the order history. You can see the patient name here, their order number, a brief description of the type of device that's been prescribed, and the date that the prescription or the order has been submitted from the Fusion app. So, generally speaking, you will make your way from the left-hand side, from the top of the menu down to the bottom. You'll scan the patient's feet, and when the patient comes into the clinic, and after that, you would then write your order form. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to skip the scanning piece, and I'm going to jump straight into the order form so I can explain just how that works for you. So the first thing you need to do is enter the patient name. I'll give my own name. You can see that there's a few crucial pieces of information here, some required pieces of information. They include the patient name, patient weight, and shoe size. And we know they're required because I've got that orange border around it. So we'll put in the weight. We'll say 70 kg. Shoe size 9. Now I'm going to progress to the next page by tapping the next button. You can move between each page on the order form by tapping these buttons on the top, or you can use these buttons at the bottom here. The Save Favorites allows you to create templates within the prescription, within the order form that you can call on going forward, which might speed up your order process. And what we found is that many podiatrists, they have go-to prescription. So they've got a go-to functional device or a go-to dress device. They'll use a particular shell style or shell material, and they'll commonly place the same top cover or bottom cover on their functional and their sports devices. So this allows you to save those frequently used prescriptions or those go-to prescriptions as templates that you can call on to speed up your order process. And I'll show you how you do that at the end. But for the moment, you can just see here that I've got 3 templates: a dress device template, a 3D printed template, and a sport template. By tapping the Edit Favorites button, I can duplicate them or change the name or delete them. Okay, progress to the next page. Here, actually, before I forget, you can order repeat orders. Any order that you've previously placed using the Fusion app, you can order them through this section of the app. If you want an exact repeat, you just place in the order number. The order number you can get here from your dashboard, and you just put in the order number. When you hit the load order and go to summary button, it will pre-populate the order with that previous prescription, and you could submit the order at the end of the last page in the process. So here again, we're met with an orange border around this device type drop-down menu, which means we have to choose a device type. We'll say functional. You can choose a bilateral, left or right. We'll say bilateral for the case for this example. And your quantity, for the most part, you'll be ordering 1. Now we'll move on to the next stage. At any stage, you can hit the Save and Close button, and it will ask you, are you sure that you want to save and close now? You can say yes. And here's the order that we're working on, and you can jump back into it at any stage by pressing the pencil button on the right-hand side. So we're on to the optional specs and additions here, and you can see that once again we've got that orange border around the shell material, which means that we have to choose shell material. For this device, we'll say it's a functional polypropylene device. Rigidity, and you can choose your rigidity through the drop-down menu. If you wish to put in a fill material or any 4-foot extensions, you can choose your materials there. So you can see, for the most part, the app is based on drop-down menus. And as we progress, you'll see that there's some further buttons that you can click, some radio buttons, and we'll discuss those as we come across them. So again, your top cover selection. So just to point out, with the device type, if you select a functional device type and you select your polypropylene shell material, polypropylene for functional devices is a default shell material. You could leave the prescription as is and not put in any further information, and the operations team will manufacture a device that is as per our lab spec, and you'll find those on our websites, or on the website and in our catalog. So if you're just to choose the device type and your shell material and nothing else, we will make a default device based on our default spec. We'll progress on. You can choose your top cover length, various different options here. Move on to the next page. So there's something I want to talk to you about here, heel lift. So for these additions, such as the heel lift or heel pad, you might want to have 2 different values for the left foot and the right foot. And to enter in 2 different values, you just tap the drop-down menu, select your left foot first, choose your material. We'll say it is an EVA attached, and we'll give it 4 mil. And then we'll use the little plus icon over here on the right-hand side, and it opens up the element even further. We're now on the right foot, and we can choose our material and give it a different value, 2 mil. If we tap anywhere else on the screen, this closes up again, but we know that there's 2 values here for this heel lift because plus icon remains on the right-hand side. And that format is continued across all the additions and modifications. So all these additions and modifications are found on our traditional order form. In fact, there's more choices on the app because there's more opportunity, or there's more space to add. The traditional A4 order form is a limited sheet of paper, so we can only have so many additions and modifications on the A4 sheet of paper, whereas in the app we've lots more space. So if I wish to navigate around the order form by just tapping the buttons on the top, I can do that either. The heel cup, the same format applies. You can choose 2 different values by tapping the plus button, put in a different value and tap anywhere else, it closes up again. Same for your flanges, your shell grind. Well, not for your shell grind because you'd have only one. Oh, no, so you can choose a narrow shell grind for the left and possibly a wide shell grind for the right. Or you can just leave it as standard. Cast dressing. We have more information about cast dressing on our website. Just search Firefly Orthoses cast dressing and it'll give you definitions of skin type 1, minimum and moderate. By default, all our devices have a minimum cast dressing. Cast dressing is the space between the finished device and the patient's foot. Lecture posting, by default, everything is posted to calcaneal vertical, but you don't have to fill that in. It'll go calcaneal vertical by default. You've got your skive, inversion, eversion, and motion. Finally, on the last page, the order summary and submission, you can enter in any notes you'd like to inform our operations team about in relation to the production. Commonly, this space is used if you have a fitting date for a patient that might be a little bit tight, that's coming up. You can put in the fitting date here. If it's within close to a 2-week turnaround that you require, it'd be a good idea to let us know about this. Now, you'll remember at the start, I spoke about, where was I here? Your saved favorites, your templates. So we've created a prescription here as we progressed through the order form. This button here, Open Favorite Saver, it allows us to save the prescription that we've just created. So if I tap it, it opens up with a text box and it allows me to give this template or this favorite a name. I'll call it Connor's second functional because I've already got a functional template in there, I think, and hit save. That's now saved. To prove that it's saved, I can go back to the device type. Sorry, patient information. Page 2 here of patient information. And here's Connor's second functional device. So that is saved. And I can use this template going forward to speed up my prescription process. The second last tab of the order summary page is just a textual overview of the prescription that you've created. And very finally, the last page provides the shipping details of where the finished manufactured order is going to be shipped to. In this instance, it's going to go to our clinical address in Sligo. If you had selected ship to patient, we go back to patient information here. If we'd selected this radio button, post to patient, and we put an address, 109 Connell Street. Sligo, for example, and postcode F91 DF4, and I go to the last page again. So you can see now that the patient address is populated in the patient address column, or you could send it anywhere else in the world by filling in a name and address here. If you're going to send the devices to Honolulu or somewhere on the other side of the planet, it's going to cost you. But for the most part, they'll be going to your default ship to clinic address. So then when you're all done, you hit the submit button and the order will be on its way to Firefly for manufacture. One other thing I want to show you. If I press the little persona icon down here, tap the logout button, If, for argument's sake, you've forgotten your username or you've forgotten your password, you can still use the app. Or if you're no longer in an environment where there's Wi-Fi and you're unable to log in, that doesn't mean that you can't use the app. By tapping the guest mode button down here, it loads the app in like a skeletal format. So you can see that there's no record of any of the orders that I have created in the dashboard. But you can go in, you can capture your scans, you can create your prescriptions, but you can't submit the order. You can hit the submit button and it will tell you that the next time that you've logged in successfully, you can then attribute to the orders that you've created in guest mode to the account that you've logged into. And you just log out. When you're back in an environment Wi-Fi, you log back in again. A screen will present here asking you which of the orders you created while you were in guest mode do you want to attribute to the account that you've logged into. You just tap the button beside the patient name and you attribute those orders to the account that you've logged in with. So if you've got multiple accounts, you can, and you've created a number of orders in guest mode, you can attribute the appropriate orders to the appropriate account by logging in and selecting the orders that are for that account. So that's it. It's very easy to use. We would suggest that if it's your first time using the app, go ahead and submit a number of test orders. You can do so by putting test in the patient name, fill out a prescription, capture foot anatomy of friends or colleagues or whoever it might be using the scanning element, submit the order, but make sure that the test is in the patient name so we don't actually manufacture. We can give you feedback then on the quality of the scans, and we can answer any questions that you might have about the order process. Thank you.